Hey y'all, welcome to, I just said y'all. Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. Just got back from a vacation in North Carolina. So I don't really have a ton of video for you, but I do have a major question for you, for those who watch the channel. I've got a 1968 Pontiac LeMans. If you don't, it's basically a survivor car that I've had for 30 plus years, and the paint is really bad. I'll show you here in a second, but we got to figure out what to do with this thing, and I need your help. Let's get to it. So yeah, my 68 LeMans. Been working on this for a year and a half, almost 2 years. Did the power tour with it, and now my big concern is mechanically everything is doing really well. So one of the big questions I have is, how do I make it look good, like aesthetically? Yeah, I know aesthetically is a big word, but it's got a paint job on it that was one of those $200 Mako, I'll paint any car for $199.95 kind of paint jobs on it from probably the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I've had the car, like I said, since about 96, and it's always been this sort of cheapy paint job, and if you get real close to it, it's not great. It's a California car, so it's from being baked in the sun. The hood, the roof, the trunk are just flat. And so many people say, hey, why don't you just buff it? Let me show you something. Just rubbing on this, that's paint. There ain't no buffing that's gonna work on this, otherwise it would be this straight up silver. If you can see it, it would be all down to that silver primer if I buffed this car. So I'm not sure if you saw the video I did with Austin on his channel, Automotive Adventures with Austin. He's also with Lucor Automotive near me. We got together and he finally got to see the Pontiac. And off camera, he said something to me. It was the first time he'd seen this car. And he said, you did all this yourself? And he knows I'm not a mechanic at all. He goes, you did all this work getting this thing back on the road all by yourself? I said, yes. He's like, you rewired the car all by yourself? And I go, yes. And he's like, and I even said to him, hey, maybe I should have come to you and have you guys do the exhaust. They did the blueprint engine installation on my 85 C10 because I would void the warranty if I did it. So they did that installation, but they also installed a custom exhaust for me. And I said, I was thinking about having you guys maybe do the exhaust. And he said, keep it in-house. He's like, do it yourself. Do the exhaust yourself. See if you can figure it out. Keep doing everything you can on this car by yourself. So I kind of need to know what you think. There's not a lot of body work that needs to be done on this. This thing is very straight. There's no rust. About the only rust is at the back window. And that's right along here where the water has just settled in from washing it, and it's bubbling up a little bit. I mean, there's a couple of nicks and dings. There's like this. There's a little dent here, but it's mostly just a very, very straight car. And if I did do the work, it would be a lot of sanding. It would be a little bit of ding repair, like this one here. That's the only one that I've got that's big, but it's just a lot of little things. I wouldn't even have to try to make it absolutely perfectly straight, although I would like to try to get it as straight and as nice as possible. It's a good starter project, so this may be something I could do myself. And like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but how dull it is. I could keep driving this car as is and have fun with it, but it's a lot of sanding and learning body work, buying a lot of sanding tools and all of that stuff to get this thing ready to paint. And that's another thing, I don't even have a compressor. So I'd have to buy a compressor and a paint gun and paint and all of that stuff. And do I change the color? Do I just redo the color that's on here? Which I kind of like the color that's on here, but I've always pictured this being Pontiac Verdoro green. I can show a picture of it up here. But that would cost lots and lots of money to do the door jambs and do the under the trunk, under the hood, all of that kind of stuff too. So kind of looking for your advice. I don't know if you want to see me do 3, 4, 5, 6 videos where I'm sanding and sanding and sanding and doing this for weeks on end to get this car ready for paint, and then figuring out a way that I can paint it. So I'd love to know what you think down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate your feedback, especially if you're watching the channel all the time and seeing all the stuff I've had to go through to get this car running again. I'd love your opinion. There's a lot of other stuff I need to do. This is actually my old list for the Power Tour, and I got all those things done. But I have a new list. So yeah, this is my new list. Besides the painting stuff I'm talking about, I need to do an exhaust. It's got the original exhaust on it from 1968 and a muffler probably from 1989, 85, 89, something like that. Yep, this is the exhaust, original from 68. And there is a muffler down there that's got a big giant dent on the left side. Not sure if you can see that, but that muffler is not original. But the rest of it, all the way up to the exhaust manifolds, is original. This car did not rust. The other thing I need to do is I actually had the problem where the wheel bearing failed in the rear. I checked the front wheel bearings before I left for the Power Tour, and the grease was black. So I think for safety's sake, I need to do the front wheel bearings. My windshield wipers work, but they do not work all the time. Something is binding them up, and I don't know what it is, but sometimes if I start the windshield wipers, they won't run. If I tap them, then they'll start going just fine. I think it's binding up somehow down in here, and I need to figure that out. Driving this car with 4 drum brakes is not fun, and with manual it's even less fun. So at some point I would like to do at least power brakes, if not do the whole power brake front disc conversion. Some people say you don't necessarily need to, but I gotta stand on this thing to get it to stop, and it's just, I think it would do better if I had front discs and I had power. The other thing I want to do is maybe the coilovers, I don't know, at least replace the springs. When this thing goes down the road, it squeaks, squeak, 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 squeak the entire time. And those springs are original too. But sometimes this car is like driving a pontoon boat. It's just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I mean, it's top heavy. And so I'm thinking I wouldn't mind trying out the whole coilover thing and seeing if I can get that to work. One of the other things would be a nice to have, but I doubt I'm ever going to really do this, but it's on my list of things to look into, which is adding air conditioning. Maybe the classic air system would work well in here with some vents underneath the dash. If you look in here at the dash, there are no vents whatsoever. So if I did the classic air, it would be able to put them maybe down below, at least get it to where it can be a little nice and cool in here. That would be cool. Okay, so that's pretty much what I do have upcoming on the channel for this car. One of the things I kind of wanted to do before I even think of painting it, there's a lot of little things that I kind of want to see if I can fix. Again, never done these things before, but I want to see if I can make the car look a little nicer, you know what I mean? It's, you know, again, it's nothing major, but I just want to see if I can tweak some things. Let me show you. Not sure if you can see it. This is the passenger side. See the driver's side? It's smushed up in here. It was hit at some point right there before I bought the car. Jammed it in. I want to see if I can pull this out. Okay, so I've got the wheels chopped. Let's see what we can do to get that out. Alright, that might work. Alright. Now I just need to find someplace on the truck to hook it up. See if I don't tear my truck bumper off. Alright, connected it to the frame. Let's see if I can pull this out. Of course, it might be too hard to pull at this point. Okay, I do have that pulled out a little bit, but it's not really doing much up here. This one, see, it's got quite a good gap here, but it's about similar to that. Maybe try to pull a little bit up here, see what happens. Fortunately, it's pulling it down, so I'm not getting that one's pretty straight. This one's dipping a little bit because I'm going to the back of the truck, but it does look a little better. Got it a little higher up on this side. Pulled a little bit from down here now, got that nice and tight as I could. It's come out a little bit. It's looking a little better. It's still not up to those standards, but it's not quite as smashed in looking. I think I might try another round up here. Now, short of driving the truck away and pulling on it real hard, which is an option, but that's not something I trust myself with. I think that might be about as good as I'm going to get it. Alright, it does look a little, there's more gap there. There is a gap there at least. It looks a little better, but again, you can kind of see why I shouldn't be doing body work. But I've made it look a little better. Because look, this has been buried for years. The other nitpicky little thing that I kind of want to make sure I tweak, because it's something I could easily do, is the little 350 badge that's on the rocker panel down at the bottom. Paint has been gone for a long time, and maybe I'd get a little arts and craftsy and see if I could get this 350 looking a little good again. See what I mean? It's got some a little bit of red in there. I don't know what color to get, but I think this is supposed to be a more orangish red than this. I think maybe they painted that when they painted this car. I don't know, because that looks fairly scarlet red like this does. And I think this is supposed to be black back in here. So, you know, little things like that that I could paint to make the car look a little bit better. All right, since I couldn't fix the bumper, I'm going to see what I can do with this. I'm sure it's probably easier to take this off, but I'm going to see if I can do it on here. First thing I want to do is degrease it. Alright, got that degreased. I'm going to tape it off. My tape rolled away. Okay, it's not perfect, but I'm trying to get the top of the letters to not get a lot of paint. I'm going to coat the whole thing, wipe it off on the outside edge. Then I'll use a Q-tip to go in and do the black down inside. See if I can get that to work. Added a little more tape. And I've got a wet paper towel. It's not coming off so well. May have to use a little lacquer thinner on that. Alright, the lacquer thinner actually is working. It's taking it off of the silver off the surface. Okay, got one more coat on there. Alright, it's not dry, and it's certainly not perfect, but it looks a little better, don't you think? At least farther away. Yeah, who knows? I'll keep playing with it. Maybe it'll look better once it gets nice and dry. And then I might need to scratch off a little bit more of this to expose the silver, the chrome, but it doesn't look too bad. Maybe try to tap some of these things out here, like this has been dented in, and see if I can just sort of improve the look of the car before I go head over heels into some big giant major project. So there's lots to do on this car still. I really do appreciate it if you guys are watching this channel, following along with me. If you haven't, please subscribe. I would really love it. You know, leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think I should focus on maybe first? Should I even bother to try to attempt the paint? Kind of didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, but I do have options. It's not necessarily just that I have to follow Austin's advice and do this myself, but I could pay $10 to $15, maybe $20,000 to say paint this car. That's not going to happen. That's an option, but it's not going to happen. The other thing that I thought of doing, and this was kind of one of the things I mentioned to him, maybe fixing a lot of the little dents and the little marks, getting this as cleaned up as I possibly can, and wrapping the car. I could wrap it with whatever color I wanted, and it's about $2,000, maybe $2,500 for a wrap. And if I don't like it after 2 years, take it off, put a new wrap on it maybe, I don't know. But wrapped cars are wrapped cars. It's usually some cheesy teenager with an Acura TSX. But it is an option. The other option, of course, too, is, like I said, doing all of this myself. Sanding it, getting it prepped, doing the body filler, you know, sanding it some more, doing, you know, basically learning how to paint a car by myself, and, you know, even like putting plastic all up around the garage, and spending the next several months trying to get this thing ready for paint, and then trying to figure it out if I can actually paint it myself or not. I've seen lots of guys do it, and I don't want to do, this is my baby, I don't want to do the tractor paint for $500 or $200 paint job with tractor paint. That's not me. Again, this is something that I want to keep and drive and love on it forever, and not just do some cheap, just get it done for the video kind of paint job. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'd really appreciate it. It's, you know, I've got a lot of projects coming up, a lot of things that I need to get to. Couldn't do it too much today because I just got back from vacation and need to feed that YouTube algorithm, as they say, and get something out there for you guys. But that's what's coming up. So again, if you're not subscribed, I'd really love it if you could, and follow along with me as I try to figure out how to do this stuff. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.